Hello and welcome to this lecture. In the previous lecture, we briefly discussed about the different types of operators, and in this lecture, we will be diving into each of them in detail. Let's start by opening Python's idle environment. The first operator which we'll be starting with is the assignment operator. Now, the assignment operator is the equal to operator, which we have seen a lot of times before. It assigns the value at the right hand side to the variable at the left hand side. Now, if we take the example which we had taken at the beginning of the previous sections, total marks scored by a student equals 95, which means the value 95 is being assigned to the variable total marks. So if I print total marks, it should print the value that it was assigned with, which is 95. The next operator which we will be talking about is the arithmetic operator. Now, arithmetic operator are of 5 types. Firstly, addition operator, then subtraction, then multiplication, then division, and finally the modulo operator. Let us take a look at each of them. Firstly, the addition operator. When I say 2 plus 2, plus is the addition operator which adds the value at both the left hand side and the value at the right hand side and gives the result 4. Next up is the subtraction operator. If I say 10 minus 8, minus sign is the operator used for subtraction. It subtracts the value 8 from 10 and returns the value 2. Next is the multiplication operator, which is denoted by a star symbol. If I say 4 star 4, it returns the value 16, which is 4 times 4. And then comes the division operator. If I say 10 forward slash 5 forward slash is the operator denoted as the division operator. It returns the quotient 2. Now, as you can see, it returns the value 2.0, which means by default the quotient is being converted to float. Now, for some reason, if you do not want that to happen, if you want your quotient to remain integer, in that case what you can do is give a double slash 10 double slash 5, and that will return the value 2. And finally, in the arithmetic operator, we have the modulo operator, which is the remainder of a division. If I say 15 mod 10, the percentage symbol is used to denote the modulo operator. It returns the remainder of the division, which is 5. The next section of operators is the relational operator, and they are of 6 types. First is the less than operator. Then comes the less than or equal to, then comes greater than, then the greater than or equal to, then the double equal to, and finally the not equal to. So what do? Less than operator checks if the value at the left hand side is less than the value at the right hand side. For example, if I say 2 is less than 5, it is true, since 2 is less than 5. What if I say 5 is less than 5? Now 5 is equal to 5, so this should return false. Now the next operator is the less than or equal to operator. So what does that do? If I say 5 less than or equal to 5, it first checks if 5 is less than 5. Now since 5 is not less than 5, it next checks if 5 is equal to 5. Now since 5 is equal to 5, it returns true. Now what if I was checking for a condition 6 is less than or equal to 5? Now it first checks if 6 is less than 5. Since 6 is not less than 5, it then checks if 6 is equal to 5. And since that is not true as well, it returns the value false. Next operator is the greater than operator, and it works in the exact opposite way as that of the less than operator. If I say 5 greater than 2, it returns true. If I say 2 greater than 5, it will return false. Next up is the greater than or equal to operator, which is the opposite of less than or equal to operator. If I say if 5 is greater than or equal to 5, it first checks if 5 is greater than 5. Since 5 is not greater than 5, it then checks if 5 is equal to 5, which is true. If I say if 5 is greater than or equal to 6, 5 is not greater than 6 and 5 is not equal to 6, and hence the value false. Next up is the double equal to, which is a comparison statement. It is used to check if the value at the left hand side is equal to the value at the right hand side. If I say 5 double equal to 5, it should return true since 5 is equal to 5. Now the reason why a double equal to is used is to differentiate it from an assignment operator, which is a single equal to. Now if I say 2 double equal to 5, it returns false. And finally, we have the not equal to, which is the opposite of equal to. If I say 5 not equal to 5, it returns false since 5 is equal to 5. And if I say 2 not equal to 5, it returns the value true. And this is how you denote a not equal to, an exclamatory mark with an equal to symbol. Next up is the logical operator. Now, logical operators are operators whose execution depends on the result of certain conditions. There are 3 logical operators. They are AND, OR, and NOT. Let's see what each of them do. The AND operator. AND operator requires both the conditions at the left-hand side of AND as well as the condition at the right-hand side of the AND to be true. For example, if I say 2 is less than 5 and 5 is less than 10, here I'm making sure that both these statements are true. Only if both these statements are true will I get the answer as true. Now if I have 2 is less than 5 and 5 is greater than 10, as you can see 5 is not greater than 10, and this should give me false. So for an AND operation to work, both the conditions should return true. If one among them returns a false, my answer would be false. The next operator is the OR operator. Now what an OR operator does is it needs one of the 2 conditions to be true, either the condition on the left or the condition on the right. Let's take a look at an example. If I say 2 is less than 5 or 5 is less than 10. Now both 2 is less than 5 as well as 5 is less than 10. So this should return true. If I say 5 is greater than 10 or 2 is less than 5. Now 5 is not greater than 10. I'm checking if 2 is less than 5. Now 5 is not less than 10, but 2 is less than 5, and this will return true since the second condition was true. And finally, we have the NOT operation. Now NOT operation reverses the output. For example, when I say 2 greater than 5, it returns false. If I say NOT of 2 greater than 5, it reverses the output from false to true. Now that's a lot of information in one stretch. Let's take a quick review of what we have learned. We started this section by discussing about what is an operator. An operator is used to perform an operation between 2 operands. And then we looked at the different types of operators. The first one which we looked into was the assignment operator, which is the equal to operator, and it is used to assign a value to a variable. In this example, the value 100 is being assigned to the variable total marks. Next, what we saw was arithmetic operators. So we have 5 different types of arithmetic operations. First is the addition operation, which is used to add 2 operands. The next is the subtraction operation, which returns the difference between 2 operands. Third is the multiplication operation, which is used to return the product of 2 operands. Fourth is the division operation, which returns the quotient of a division performed. And finally, we have the modulo operator, which returns the remainder of a division performed. In this example, we are dividing 97 by 10 and the remainder 7 will be returned. Next, what we saw were relational operators. Now, relational operators return Boolean value as the output. Now, Boolean values can either be true or they can be false. So we have Equal to as a relational operator, which is identified by a double equal to in order to differentiate it from an assignment operator. So what we are doing in this example is we check if 2 is equal to 2, which is true. And then we check the next relational operator, which is the greater than operator. So in this, what you do is you check whether one operand in the left hand side is greater than the operand in the right hand side. Then what we saw was the lesser than operator, in which we check if the operand at the left hand side is less than the operand at the right hand side. In case it is less, it returns true. In this case, 10 is not less than 5, because of which it returns the value false. Next, what we saw was the greater than or equal to operator, which returns true if the value at the left hand side is greater than or equal to the value at the right hand side. In this example, we check if 15 is greater than or equal to 15. So what Python checks is first if 15 is greater than 15. Now that's not true. Then it checks if 15 is equal to 15, which is true, because of which it returns the output as true. Then what we saw was the lesser than or equal to operator, which is the opposite of greater than or equal to operator. So if the operand at the left hand side is less than or equal to the operator at the right hand side, it returns the value true, else it returns the value false. Then what we checked was the not equal to, which is the opposite of the double equal to operator. It returns true if the operand at the left hand side is not equal to the operand at the right hand side. Finally, what we checked was the logical operators, which are and, or, and not. Now, logical operator and checks multiple conditions. It needs both the conditions to be true in order for the output to be true. For example, we had made a check if 2 is less than 5, which is true, and then you check if 10 is greater than 7, which is also true, because of which it returned the value true. Now, if the first condition had failed, if 2 was not less than 5, say we had given a condition 2 greater than 5, in that case, the first condition itself was false and the execution would not have continued further. Next, what we saw was the OR operator. Now, OR operator needs one of the two conditions to be true. In this example, we first check if 2 is greater than 5, which is false. So now what we do is we check if the second condition is true. The second condition is 5 is greater than or equal to 5, which is true, because of which the output of our OR is true. Finally, what we saw was the NOT operator, which reverses the output. So in this example, we check if 10 is greater than 5, which is true, and since you are adding a NOT operator, it reverses the output and gives you the output as false. So that's the end of review on this section on operators. The next section is on strings. You have already started using strings, but in the next section you will learn a lot more about it. As always, refer to the notes and exercise problems attached. In case you're stuck, use the discussion board. I'll see you in the next section. Thank you.